Hey, what's going on, everybody? All right, today we are going to cover, I'm going to start somewhat of like a small series. It's not really a series. It's going to be 3 different videos covering paperwork. I've been asked a lot about Raycons, BOLs, invoicing, and instead of grouping those all into one video, where if anyone was looking for one specific thing, they kind of have to skip through the whole video to search around to see where I talk about it. I'm just going to do 3 real quick videos, one on Raycons, one on BOLs, and the last one on invoicing. People coming into this for the very first time, this is all being brand new to them. They don't really know what to expect, especially people like myself. When I was a company driver, when I first started, dealing with brokers, dealing with rate confirmations, naming prices and stuff like that, it was a little bit intimidating. And it was really only because I didn't know what to expect. I didn't know what it looked like. I didn't know what was involved, and come to find out, once I actually started doing it, it's really basic and it's super easy. It just involves reading. That's really it. So let's go ahead and start this first one off. This is going to be covering Raycons. And I have right here, I've got a sample Raycon right here that I'm going to put up on the screen now, and we'll actually cover just kind of what you're looking for on a Raycon and what it is. Now, the first thing you're going to look for on a rate confirmation is the load number. That will be somewhere. This one kind of got cut off on the top, but it's right here in the top corner. You want to make sure that matches what you actually looked at, because whenever usually whenever you're dealing with a Raycon, you've booked this through a brokerage. For a rate confirmation through a broker, which is what we're covering here, and this goes for freight, this goes for cars. A lot of this is electronic. Some of this is done through apps. It wasn't that long ago, maybe 2 years ago, all of this was paper. You'd have to print it off, sign it, send it back. So like I said, first thing you're going to look at is make sure that the load number is correct. That's going to be your ID for this load through that brokerage. It's going to usually have their letterhead on here. That's going to have their name, their physical address, their phone number, their contact on here. All that information you'll be able to get through this. Then one of the very first things you want to look for, and I know it sounds really simple because it is, you're going to want to look and make sure that the pickup location and the delivery locations are both listed. A lot of times it'll be, sometimes you'll come across Raycons that'll have you contact the broker, or it will actually be supplemented later on with a BOL that you get if the company has you run their BOL. So make sure this big thing you want to make sure is that the pickup and delivery dates are what you told them and what you agreed on, especially if there's an appointment involved. You want to make sure that everything on there matches what you agreed to over the phone. The second thing you want to make sure of is the commodity. Whether it be a vehicle, whether it be freight, you're going to want to make sure that the commodity, the dimensions, the weights, for a vehicle, you want to make sure the make and model and the years are correct, is what you were told it was going to be. Make sure the VIN is on there so you can confirm that with a dealership or auction or personal residence. You want to be able to match something when you get there, even if it's just the last 6 of the VIN. You want to make sure that's on there. The third thing that you want to make sure is 100% correct is the rate. The rate that you agreed on the phone should be the rate reflected on the rate confirmation here. That's kind of what this is for. And if there's any discrepancies with any of those things, just call the broker back or email the broker back. Let them know what needs to be changed. But do not, guys, if there's anything wrong with this, when you look it over, do not sign it. Don't sign it. Don't sign it and send it back to them, or you've made your agreement at that point. Usually if something is wrong on the rate confirmation, you can get that changed pretty quick. Sometimes it's not very quick, sometimes it takes a couple of hours. One thing I want to mention with this, if you book a load and you are waiting on a Raycon, do not move. Do not advance towards that load. Now, 9 times out of 10 you would be fine, but that one time out of 10 is going to bite you hard. And I've had it happen several times. That's why I don't do it anymore. And I highly recommend that you do not move until you have a Raycon in hand and signed and sent back and confirmed. Do not move towards that load. That load is not yours until you send a signed Raycon. Because until you do, that's not your load. They can promise you the stars and the sun and the moon, but it's not your load until you have this Raycon in your hand. Aside from just those few things you want to definitely make sure that are on there, another thing that you definitely want to make sure of is, like I said, definitely don't move until you have a Raycon. But read your rate con. Definitely read it. There's not really one on this, but there could be on some of them some very fine print on there talking about special instructions, different contacts to make, how far forward to call ahead on either end, the ship or the, there's going to be on some of these very, very specific instructions. And sometimes they'll be on the BOL too, but we'll jump into that in the next video. But definitely read your rate cons. This is what you're agreeing that you will do. So you definitely want to make sure that you know flat out, without a doubt, that this matches what you agreed on over the phone, that you're willing to do that, and you'll be good to go. So I hope that was easy enough for you guys. I mean, like I said, there's not a lot to that. It's very simple. It's basically just going to match what you talked about over the phone. It's just going to be on paper and you're going to sign off on it. That is your binding agreement to that load. So once you send that in, that load is yours. If anything changes, then you can start, asking for money. So I hope that helped you guys out. We'll jump into bills of lading and invoicing in the next two videos. So we'll see you guys next time.